This is Todd Toback, and today we are going to talk about a monster deal case study. And I'm super excited about this one because this deal actually was super inexpensive to acquire. And there's some great lessons. I got a couple announcements. First of all, if you have not been over to our site, got to head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com. If you want to do big, fat, juicy deals, you want a profitable business with big fat margins. You want a business that's going to operate without you on a day-to-day basis. You got to head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com and take the Next Level Wholesaling Assessment. It's totally free. It takes 5 minutes. Once you take it, it's going to be abundantly clear on that very next step that you need to take to start building that business of your dreams. I used to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, and now I've got a business that spews off cash just consistently, not month after month, but year after year. So head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com and take that free assessment. All right. So big announcement. Normally our podcast runs twice a week, and I love the feedback that I get from you, the messages and the love, and I love helping everybody, especially when I get those comments on YouTube and things like that. We are going to change things up a little bit. I'm going to try this for a year or so, but we are going to move the podcast from 2 days a week down to 1 day a week. And we're actually going to publish an email newsletter. Now, here's where I'm really excited. Again, this is an experiment, but you're going to get to hear, ready for this, from one of my proteges who I've nicknamed Bobby Big Deal. Now, of course, the name fits Bobby Big Deal. It is a pseudonym, super private, but you're going to hear from him once a week by email along with me. And also, you're going to still get the podcast, but Bobby Big Deal, who knows how to do some monster deals, you get a little bit of a different perspective, is going to be sharing some of his best secrets by email via our newsletter. So make sure you tune in. I know that you're going to love hearing from Bobby, and I'm super excited. Just remember, if you're expecting 2 podcasts a week, we're going to go to podcast once a week, and then the other day of the week, you're going to see the newsletter with all kinds of cool stuff. By the way, I'm going to share a lot of resources in there. If you're not subscribed and you're listening to this, you can go either to nextlevelwholesaling.com to get on the list, or NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com. All right, so let's jump into our deal review. So this deal right here is going to be a monster, and I'm really excited about the profit on this one. And this deal was a motivated seller, and they called us off some of our marketing, which I'm going to tell you here about in a second. But this is a pre-probate deal. Now, what is a pre-probate deal? Pre-probate deal is a deal where someone has control of our property and they basically inherited it, but there's no trust. It has to go through the probate process. And the challenge for a seller going through the probate process is they don't know how to do it. It's overwhelming. It usually costs money up front, and they have this house but no way to sell it, right? Most real estate agents are like, oh, you got to take this thing to probate. It's going to take 8 months. And so it's really overwhelming. Anyway, the lady contacted us and said, hey, I've got this house. It's on an acre lot. It's 800 square feet, really bad condition. I'm living in it, and it's going to go to auction here, tax auction, in about 3 months. So we took a look at it, and she agreed to a purchase price of $50,000, which is a very good price. What we did at this point is I always recommend that you have a good relationship with a probate attorney. All right. And then what you do is you build that relationship with a probate attorney so that they do all the probate work up front without you having to pay for it until the deal closes. Okay. They call this working on performance. Now, most probate attorneys won't do this. I'd say about 70% won't. 30% will. So if you get a no, just keep going until you get a yes. Right. So our probate attorney handled this deal, and basically she got the probate done in about 30 days. Now, we assigned this deal for $100,000. So we bought it for 50, and we had it sold, pre-sold, assigned for $100,000. So anyway, we're about to close, and all of a sudden a couple things pop on the title report that are no big deal, right? There are a couple of open permits, one for siding and one for roof, and it's no big deal because everyone knows that these need to be redone. Anyway, but the buyer gets a little shaky. I think he changed his mind on the price or saw how much we were making. or maybe just, didn't like the deal as much. Hey, but that was okay. But this is like 2 days before closing. He says, I'm out. Now, the interesting thing is that the buyer has the earnest money deposit in escrow, but they're willing to walk away from it. On the other hand, this buyer has bought a lot from us, so we're not really in the mood to keep that money. Legally, I'm entitled to it, but typically if a buyer has bought a lot from us and their money is in escrow, there's really no benefit for us to try and keep that. Okay, some people may disagree with me, but it's just not worth it. Too much energy and hassle for $5,000. So we refunded the buyer's money. Here's the lesson. This deal, as is worth between $135,000 to $185,000, maybe even $200,000. Because the purchase price was so good, we said, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to close this sucker. So we went in. We closed with a $50,000, right, plus the closing costs, and so it was like $51,000. By the way, the probate costs, we had the buyer cover those on their side of the statement, which was great. So we didn't have to do that. They just paid for it at closing, or paid the attorney, and so we basically took that deal down. Now, there's a little bit of a post-occupancy on this deal. What does that mean? That means that the seller can occupy the property for 30 days after we close. Huge benefit, and that's part of the reason why we were able to get a nice profit on the property. So property's going to go empty. We're going to clean it out. We're going to stick it right back on the MLS for $149,000. I suspect because of the size of the lot and the location, it may go from 160, 170, 180, right? And so instead of dealing with, instead of just assigning it, which we were going to make 50, we're now going to take that deal down and make, instead of 50, maybe 80 or $90,000. Here's why I'm so excited about this deal. Number one is that I look back on our marketing and it cost like less than $300 to acquire this deal, which is just awesome. If you could do that math, that will change your numbers for the year, right? If you do a few of those deals. And so my recommendation, by the way, is that everybody use one of our partners and buy inheritance leads, pre-probate leads, inheritance. Big difference between probate leads and inheritance leads, okay? Probate leads are deals who are going through probate. It means those deals are always with an attorney. An attorney is already involved. And the seller is not that overwhelmed, right? Because they have already called an attorney and going through that process. You also have attorney in the middle, which I don't really like to do. Inheritance leads, on the other hand, are special because they have not hit that attorney yet. They're not working with an attorney. They're overwhelmed. This is where you can offer more value. So I always recommend getting those pre-probate inheritance leads if you can. My favorite source, check it out. We have a partner that we refer. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. Okay. And when you call, make sure you tell them that Todd Toback sent you. Because not only do you want the current leads, right, the leads that were just inherited, but you want to get the back leads, like 6 months old. And not only mail the current leads, but mail the ones that are from 6 months old, 5 months old, 4 months old, 3 months old, 2 months old, right? Email all of those. And I'm telling you, you are going to do very, very, very well. And email that list every single month, all of it, and then add the new leads, right? And keep mailing it. The cost is just a joke compared to other types of marketing. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. Okay. A couple of things. The lesson that you want to learn is, number one, sure, you want to be able to assign it to buyers. But two, you got to have money lined up always. Don't wait until the deal is ready to close to find money. In this case, I was able to obviously lend myself the money, right? I had money outside of my company. I lent my company the money, charged the company interest. So that was good, but I could have used, my sister, my aunt, my brother, my brother's IRA, a private lender. And on this amount, it would have been nothing. So you got to have that money lined up. You don't want to be at the mercy of your buyers. Number two, though, always be building up your buyers list and be ready to take it down, right? If you have a really, really great deal, get past that fear, take it down, clean it out, stick it on the market, and make even more money. So I hope you enjoyed today's deal review. This is a deal that is happening right now. We bought it. We're waiting for it to go vacant. We're going to stick it right back on the MLS when we are done. And I'm telling you, this stuff works. So make it happen. Again, don't forget to check out those leads, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/inheritance. Also, a reminder, podcast is going once a week and look out for that email newsletter. Go to nextlevelwholesaling.com to take the assessment, and I will talk to you on the next episode.